Welcome back to In Your Interest. I'm Steve Roberts. In this edition, you'll hear from a very talented teen. A lot of times we hear not such positive things about teenagers, but Kamilyah Edward, who is from Texas, is here to visit with us to talk about her writing poetry and some of her other many skills and blessings. Welcome to In Your Interest.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. Tell our viewers a little bit about you, where you're from.
Well, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been there for all my life. I enjoy, my main thing is poetry, because whatever God gives you, you have to use it. And so that's mainly, if that's the main thing you need to know about me, I play tennis. I've been playing since I was about 5, and I've been doing poetry since I was 5, and I've been playing the piano also since I was about 6.
Okay. But you're very religious, aren't you?
Yes.
You have a strong faith in God. How did that begin?
Well, it's just the environment I was in. My parents, they were strong in religion, and it's like the area that you're in, it kind of affects you. And so it's just like I was brought into that, and if God will put you where you need to be, and I felt that was where I needed to be.
Okay. You're 12, and
Yes.
you're in 7th grade. You seem to be very comfortable with yourself. A lot of 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds seem to be trying to find their way. What's your secret?
Well, I guess God already revealed that to me since I was young, and my dad constantly enforced what God had for me. And so I've already found that, and all I'm doing is just trying to work to do that. So it's like I don't have to fit in with everybody else because I have my own place.
Okay. What, I mean, you know, you're very, like I said, at rest with yourself, very comfortable. Where do you see yourself going? I mean, you've got high school ahead of you, maybe college, a career.
Well, I want to go to Spelman College, but I also want to just take off in poetry. I want to minister to the world, to help people, because that's what my purpose is. And really, I just want to go out and say poetry and help people and save souls to lead them to Christ.
You have, of course, friends of yours who probably are amazed at what you're doing today, being on television, and I know you've done this before. But what would you say to young people, your age and a little bit older, a little bit younger, in terms of what direction they should go with their lives?
I would say keep on trying, and don't go where everybody else goes, because you'll do what everybody else does, but to do something amazing, you have to do something different. And I think you have to go where God tells you to go, and do what He tells you to do, and just believe in yourself and have faith.
On your poetry, when did you begin to write poetry?
Well, I began to write poetry since I was like, I think 7 was the first poem that I wrote. But mainly my dad, he writes poetry, and I usually recite them. Okay.
Well, I want to come back next hour and want you to share with our viewers a little bit of your poetry and some of your other God-given skills next hour, okay?
Okay.
We'll continue our discussion with a talented teen. Tune in. We'll see you next hour. I'm Steve Roberts, In Your Interest. Welcome back to In Your Interest. I'm Steve Roberts. This edition will continue a discussion with a very talented teen. Her name is Kamilyah Edward. She's from Dallas, Texas, a 7th grader who writes poetry, as well as kind of is a role model for, I think, her friends and her school. Kamilyah, last hour we were talking about how you think you started writing poetry when you're 6 or 7 years old, and your father writes poetry, of course. But I guess one thing that our viewers may be interested in would be to hear what some of your poetry is like. Could you recite something?
Oh, yes, I would love to. Is it okay if I stand up?
Sure.
Okay. This poem I'm going to say is Feel Good. Feel good. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel real good about yourself. Even if you're going through changes, feel good about yourself. For you are blessed. You're blessed. You're still alive, still have your right mind, not locked up doing time. So don't go around depressed. You may not have what you want, but think about your needs and not your wants. For you are blessed. You could be homeless. You could have AIDS. You could be dead in your grave. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel real good about yourself. Even if you're going through changes, feel good about yourself. Because if you're going through changes, they don't last always. Just hold your head up and never give up. For trouble doesn't last always. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel real good about yourself. Even if you're going through changes, feel good about yourself.
Very good. Very, very nice. Now, what inspired you to write that particular poem?
Well, actually, this is a poem written by my dad.
Okay.
I think many people, we have problems, and there's always somebody who's less fortunate than you are, and I think that you're always blessed. Whatever situation you have to keep on striving, and you just cannot give up and feel good about yourself, because there's so many things to feel good about, so there's no need to be depressed, because God's given you so much.
Yeah. Well, again, as we talked last hour, you're very settled for your age, and you have a real perception of yourself and where you're going. Do you speak to community groups or youth groups?
Yes, I speak to schools. I speak to churches, events. Any time there's opportunity to speak, to help, I'm there.
Okay. And of course, people like to know where your background is. Can you talk about your family a little bit?
Oh, yes, I have mom, dad, I have a little sister. We're just really involved, and my little sister, she also takes piano and tennis, and we're just a really religious family, and we keep our hopes up, and we believe, and like I told you, I've been taking tennis and piano, and in poetry. That's the main thing that's really about me, and I have a little sister also.
And I guess my final question is, and this is a little difficult, but what do you see for teenagers, people of your generation? What do you see the biggest problems facing them?
Well, the biggest problem that I think that is facing them is reconciling with themselves, but also God. And I think it's kind of hard. We're in this time where it's kind of like a battle, and we're stuck in it, and we're trying to find a way out, and we're so misguided, we're so misleaded, we don't know where to go and who to turn to, and we just have to find help, and that's in God. And that's the main problem, and America isn't providing it, so the church and the community has to provide it, and that's the biggest problem, is we can't find ourselves, and we're having a hard time finding God.
Well, good. Thanks for being our guest. That was a good answer and a solution. Again, Kamilyah Everett, she's a talented teen. You can expect to hear from her in years to come. We'll see you next hour. I'm Steve Roberts, in your interest.